ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about thousands of top-rated patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. Book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better, faster with ZocDoc. Go to ZocDoc.com/something and download the ZocDoc app for free. That's ZocDoc.com/something, ZocDoc.com/something. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you're looking for therapy, give BetterHelp a try. And it's so easy to get started with BetterHelp. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/scary today to get 10% off your first month. That's help.com/scary.
Hi, I'm Steffany Strange. Want to hear something scary?
Some stories are just perfect for the spooky season, and some places are seemingly synonymous with Halloween. Places like Salem and, of course, Sleepy Hollow. But if you hear the clip-clopping of hooves on a dark night, you better watch your head. The old Dutch church in Sleepy Hollow was ready for Halloween. Its creepy silhouette was illuminated by the flickering glow of jack-o'-lanterns. My classmates and I stood outside listening to the historian, Mr. Hans Mueller. The Headless Horseman was once a real man, as real as any of us, standing directly where we are now. The historian continued. During the Revolutionary War, a Haitian soldier had been on a horseback when he came under attack. While attempting to escape, a cannonball had blasted his head clean off his body. His horse rode around the village with the lifeless, headless corpse of the soldier still in his saddle for hours before finally collapsing. When word of his death reached Germany, the family had traveled all the way to America to lay their father to rest. And now, Mr. Mueller said, when the air turns crisp and the nights grow dark, the ghost of the Headless Horseman emerges from its grave and then screams. And out of nowhere, my face was covered in something slimy. I wiped off the pumpkin pulp from my cheek. It was a cruel prank by Ethan, my jerk of a classmate. He stuck his hand inside a decaying pumpkin and hurled the insides right at me. I suppose I should have been thankful because at least the mush was hiding my tears. Laughter erupted, but Mr. Mueller's voice cut through the noise. "Silence," he shouted. His eyes narrowed menacingly and the laughter died down instantly. Ethan turned pale as Mr. Mueller berated the class for not taking our tour seriously, warning us about the consequences of ignoring the history's lessons. While my classmates boarded the bus, their hurried whispers carried the weight of Mr. Mueller's unkind demeanor. It was in the solitude of the restroom that I took a moment to compose myself, wiping away the traces of frustration etched on my face. The tour of the Sleepy Hollow Church had ignited a seed of curiosity in Ethan's mind. That night, just days before Halloween, he and some classmates planned to sneak into the graveyard and try to catch a glimpse of the legendary Headless Horseman. But it's no surprise that I wasn't invited to join them, and I couldn't help but feel relieved. As darkness fell and the fog thickened, haunting sounds filled the air as they ventured into the cemetery just outside the old church. Suddenly, they heard a clopping noise. It couldn't be real, but as they hushed one another, it became clear. A horse was approaching. As the animal sped nearer, they caught sight of a monstrous figure atop it. Illuminated by the moonlight, in the mist, a jack-o'-lantern's head with glowing eyes was unmistakable. The Headless Horseman charged towards them with a hunting knife in hand. "Run!" Ethan screamed. The group scattered in all directions, but the Headless Horseman set his sights on Ethan. By the time the other teens alerted their parents, who in turn called the police, it was too late. All that remained of Ethan In the graveyard was his lifeless body with a slit throat. Olivia, one of the girls who had been there, insisted it was a ghost of Sleepy Hollow, seeking a new head. But the adults were more skeptical. The police launched a murder investigation. Based on the accounts of the terrified teens, they believe they had a suspect. The police banged loudly on the door of Mr. Mueller's house. He was under suspicion due to the threats he made on tour with Ethan's class and his obsession with the Headless Horseman legend. It was apparent to everyone that he was slightly unhinged and could be the killer. The police ransacked the empty house searching for evidence but found nothing. Not the murder weapon or even Mr. Mueller. Officers later found Mr. Mueller downtown at the library teaching an adult night course. His alibi was airtight, with no choice but to let him go. He expressed remorse for the teenager's death, but his eyes betrayed him, as he declared that the Haitian soldier's ghost was responsible, and the teen had failed to heed his warnings. The town was left on edge with the unsettling reality that the ghost of the Headless Horseman might still haunt their community. When Mr. Mueller returned home, he was devastated to find his house torn apart. As he started to clean up, I emerged from the basement, the bloody hunting knife in my trembling hands. "Uncle Hans?" I called out gently. He rushed to me. "I am so proud of you," he whispered, wrapping me in a big hug. He was happy to pass along our family tradition, avenging the death of our ancestors and the Haitian soldier who fell in the Revolutionary War. I just wish I had felt as good as my Uncle Hans did about it. I was only able to slit his throat, I said sadly. But don't worry, next time, I'll finish the job.
From Wondery, I Hear Fear is a new anthology series of suspenseful stories hosted by Carrie Mulligan. These stories are inspired by true events and real places, so the next sound you hear might be your own scream. In each episode of I Hear Fear, you'll be treated to a new psychological thriller, a forest monster who lures teens into the woods and never lets them return, a line of beauty products that takes the search for youth to dark extremes, and an EDM party that turns deadly when the DJ takes over more than just the dance floor. These might sound like urban legends, but I Hear Fear proves that the scariest stories of all are the ones that are true. I Hear Fear will introduce immersive horror and lead you straight into the heart of darkness. Prepare to be taken on a journey into the unknown. Follow I Hear Fear on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all of the episodes of I Hear Fear ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Thanks so much for listening. Like and share if this video gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell for notifications. See you next time.